the most surprising thing for me watching the game is that the contrast between the level of performance they put in against Manchester City on Saturday compared to what they did last night, it was like two completely different teams. Worried for Frank? Do you reckon this is it?
I'm so worried. I spend a lot of time worrying about Frank Lampard. How will things go for him? What will he do? Oh no, Frank!
I know someone who would have been happy about it is David Moyes last night, because he went from being the favourite manager to be sacked to the second favourite manager to be sacked now.
Yeah, nice.
But will Frank go before the FA Cup game on Friday? That is the question. They've got Man United.
It's likely to be that soon.
Is it imminent, do you think? Could be.
Yeah, I mean, it could well be imminent, isn't it? They've got that result against Man City, which really has papered over some cracks, I suppose. But, I mean, they're just playing in a really weird way, aren't they? We were talking earlier about how they signed a lot of really sturdy defensive players who are,
they signed
quite
well,
aggressive.
Didn't they?
Yeah, and they look like they've got a really solid foundation, and they're not playing in a way that actually utilises that at all. They look really soft and just they sit off and just.
I find that slightly puzzling. Looking at the Everton squad, you can understand why there might be a lack of creativity there. But like a centre-half pairing of Tarkowski, Conor Cody, like Idrissa Gana Gueye running interference in front of them. In other games they've had Onana, they've got Doucouré sometimes fit. There's a lot of like tough like guys who, can handle themselves in a 50-50. And there's no reason for me, just looking at, without going too deep into the numbers, they've got like the second highest XG against in the league. Like their underlying numbers suggest they're the second worst defensive team in the division. And that shouldn't be happening with that squad, I don't think. That for me makes it, very tempting to question what the coach is up to.
Yeah.
Is it a situation where like younger managers find it quite difficult to set up a defence, and also Frank Lampard's been promoted outside his skill set?
I don't. Yeah, he has done very well to get the job he has based on what he has shown as a manager so far in his career.
He would definitely have gone with that result, I think, if he hadn't got the result against Manchester City.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say.
But the good news is he both knows our game and gets the club. It's the thing you have to remember here.
Yeah.
So I know results currently are bad, but he must actually be good.
Like a couple of weeks ago, he was criticising the support at Goodison. I'm like, mate, they kept you in a fucking job late last season.
There were boos yesterday.
Wow, yeah, I mean, well deserved.
Yeah.
Get Dicey in.
I think Everton, more than any club, are a victim of how just expensive the Premier League is. You have to spend so much money just to sort of stand still, essentially. And they seem to kind of revamp a lot in an attempt to kind of compete and fly up the table a little bit and move it. But it's a difficult task when you're a club of that size and of that stature. But you've essentially been left behind a little bit by the huge amounts of money that other clubs have.
Yeah, I think that the most surprising thing for me watching the game is that the contrast between the level of performance they put in against Manchester City on Saturday compared to what they did last night, it was like two completely different teams. That lack of consistency just is baffling, and I can understand why the fans are maybe a bit confused and tactically as well, because against Manchester City, Frank Lampard played a back five, understandably. Against Brighton, he went back to a back four. But in the game against Man City, they were so aggressive, Everton. They were winning everything. They were, going in for tackles. Obviously, we had that amazing battle between Ben Godfrey and Erling Haaland in the match as well, where they were giving each other loads of shit throughout the game. And then this performance against Brighton just seemed so flat and weak, and there was no aggression in it whatsoever. And the defending was comical, particularly Tarkowski, who, as you've mentioned already, Lars, he's not a bad defender, but I don't know what happened to him in this game.
Too much time being a good defender at Burnley for him to suddenly become a bad defender.
3 goals in 6 minutes in the second half is what they
Some
conceded.
strange behaviour, though, from the Everton defenders. Him trying to head tackle Solly Marsh, I guess it was. That was not good.
He just literally... He almost fell on the floor like a salmon, Tarkowski.
I think it was one of those.
It
was the sort of last result. He's going to shoot here, and I'm going to try to blow up a good. And Marsh didn't shoot, which made it look like he was flopping about like a fish. But I just think, again, for the fourth goal,
that was my favourite moment.
There was so much going on there. It's we could spend. I mean, no, that's not the kind of pod we are. It's not a match report pod. But good lord, we can spend like 5 minutes just going through all the nonsense that happened there. It was a good value.
Well, how about we do a little bit of it? Because what amused me the most about it is that Pascal Gross is probably our slowest
I know.
player.
This is the
He
thing.
has
This Pascal
zero
Gross
pace.
on the break.
He has zero pace. And as soon as I'd realised it was him, I was like, shit, this isn't going in, even though he's one-on-one. And then he somehow manages to get some pace from somewhere or made to look quick. And then Pickford comes out and he completely cleans Tarkowski out, throws him up in the air. It was just lovely stuff.
We've heard of, defenders being put in their arse, but Tarkowski was put on his face.
Yeah.
With a proper
And I-
By
face
his own
plant.
goalkeeper.
Pickford does try and play the rest of the team into form, doesn't he? Like, he really wants to affect a bit of control there.
Is the problem, though, Frank Lampard and his,
Yeah, that one.
inability to tactically change games? I've heard some of the Everton fans saying that, mid-matches he struggles to kind of make changes. I did think that a little bit with the recalling of Ellis Sims from Sunderland, who's been, pretty decent this season, and he was, warming up from the first half and then didn't come on until like the 83rd minute or something. Seemed like he could have got him on a bit earlier. But a lot of fans are also criticising the board and actually saying that this has been a problem for years with Everton. So is there a deeper issue than it just being Frank Lampard? Because we've seen some really experienced coaches go in there and not be able to get Everton to the heights they want to be at. You look at Carlo Ancelotti, one of the most successful managers in football.
Marco Silva.
Yeah, he got them
Big
to
Sam.
8th, didn't he?
I think he also got them to 8th, didn't he? Sam Allardyce. So I think, there's absolutely something to that because they kind of
He's
circled this
definitely
drain,
not
don't
bitter
they?
about being fired, by the way. When he speaks about Everton, he's very magnanimous.
But they keep finding themselves back here, don't they? I feel like we have this conversation at least once a season about Everton, and that does, point to a wider malaise.
Is this their year to go down then, Pete? Because last year they managed to get themselves out of it, but does it feel like this could be their time to go?
I just think they must be really satisfied, the Everton fans, that they're going to have the greatest stadium in the Championship next season. It's just something to be proud of.